Good evening. Just put in chat box whether I'm audible. Okay. Neil, extremely sorry. We just forgot certain things and unnecessary. We have to delay this class by 15 minutes. But now most of the students who are regular have joined, so you can just start. There is no problem. You are comfortable.
Okay. Sorry, my mic was off. So Shlok, I see that you said that I've completed all the levels, and I understand that, but you will not be presenting your screen today. I will be asking you to type out your answer and then send that in the chat along with everybody else. So with that, let me just share my screen. So you guys can see my screen? Just type a yes in the chat if you can. Okay. So that will go on to our block coding, and we were on the last one. But I would like to just go through from 18th, and I'll have you guys then give me answers. Or no, wait, I don't remember these. Yeah, we were on 16. So 16 is what I gave for homework. So if everybody could type in their responses. If you didn't do it, that's fine. I'll give you a few minutes to look at it, come up with a response, and type it out. Remember that we have this while loop that we covered in the last class and this if statement. Remember that the if statement only does whatever's in the middle if this previous statement, if path to the left, is true. And the while loop will only do the stuff in the middle while this remains, what is it? False. So until you actually reach the acorn, it'll keep on moving forward or moving forward and then checking to the left. So with that, please type in your responses. I'll give you a few seconds to look at it, and then I'll switch back to the chat to see if anybody has the answer because Shlok said that he already did, so we'll be able to look at his first. Okay, so Vardhan and Anushka gave answers. Once again, I'll ask Shlok if you have an answer. Please type it. I want to see what you put. So, okay, so since, okay, repeat until if path ahead, move forward, if path left, turn left. So, Shlok gave the most concise answer. So, while Vardhan and Anushka, you guys both gave correct answers, some of your blocks or your code is not necessary. So let's look at Vardhan. So repeat until move forward. If path to the left, turn left, and then you put another one if path to the right, turn right. But if you look here, there's never a path to the right. And we know that. If we didn't, then we might want to do that. But since there isn't, there's no need for us to actually put that if path to the right, turn to the right. And you can see that our workspace allows only 5 blocks. So those 2 blocks go over the limit. And then with Anushka's response, so repeat until move forward 5 times. If path to the left, turn left. Yeah, so Anushka, you got yours as well. You didn't need to put move forward 5 times. You can just put move forward and then check. Because if there isn't one, then it won't turn left. So if we go and we just put this, we can see that it will check after every move. So we can see that it'll obviously reach there, but I just want to show you guys what will happen if we put 5 move forwards. See, it'll only check after 5, which will work for these two, and we'll get there faster. But as you can see, we fall off because over here, it needs to go through all 5 before it checks to the left. It's because we have changes in the distance of these straight paths that we need to check after every single time we move forward. So that, I think we can move on to number 17. And this is basically the same thing, but just go through it, see how it works. So I'll switch back to the chat. So Vardhan and Anushka, you guys got how your solutions are partially correct, but with Anushka, it was partially correct because it didn't end up reaching the end. And with Vardhan, it was correct, but you put 2 additional blocks. Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure. Because since we're not in person face to face, I can't see if you guys get what I'm saying or not. So I need the chat. Okay. Baba Sahib. Repeat until move forward 5 times. If path to the left, turn left. Path to the
So
right. Uh, Pradeep or whoever's on that account, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. If move forward 5 times. So whoever's on the Baba Sahib Rashinkar account, so you don't want to put move forward 5 times because as you can see, the only time where the path is 5 long is here and here. We have 2, 3 paths here. So your scroll would fall off the edge. And obviously there is no path to the left, so we don't need to check for a path to the left. So if you want to fix that and then re-put it in, or if you got it, just say, okay, I got it in the chat. And I think everybody else, Shlok, Vardhan, Shlok again, Aryan, Tarki, or whoever's on that account. Yeah, you guys all got it. So we're gonna repeat until we reach that. We're gonna move forward, and then after we move forward, we always want to check if there's a path to the right. And then if so, we turn to the right. With that, it takes a bit of time since it needs to check after every step. Yeah, and with that, we can see that we did complete it. Now I move on to number 18, which is a bit more difficult. So what do you want to do? So we have this new thing called an if-else statement. So this one is different in the fact that it will check if this statement is true, if path ahead. So if there's a path ahead, then it will do what's in here, like our if statement. But what's different about the if-else statement is that because of the else, if this statement isn't true, if there is no path ahead, then it will automatically do this next thing. So it's not like before where we could have move forward and then if there's path to left, you check left. Otherwise, it'll just do the next thing in the loop. It'll go back to the start and then do that. So over here, if you put something there, it will always do that before restarting the loop or going to the next block. Obviously, you can leave this else part blank and just use it as an if statement. But for this puzzle, you will be wanting to use that else part. So with that, you guys can go ahead and do it. See which turns you will need to make, how to use the while loop. Oh, okay. Sorry, Anushka, you didn't get it? Okay, so you don't get what exactly? This puzzle or the previous one? Okay, you didn't get the new block. Okay. Uh, I think I did share window. So I'll stop presenting for a quick second. And I'll share my entire screen. So we'll do paint. So if we say that this entire thing is our while loop, okay, this block here is our while loop, and we have statement 1, then we have our if statement. This is how we did it previously, right? Just an if statement. And then we have our statement here, and then we have another statement. So we'll label this 1, 2, 3. Okay, so say our if statement comes out false. So it'll go 1, then it'll skip 2. It doesn't do 2, and then it goes and does 3. So we'll skip 2 and it'll just jump from straight from the first action to the third action. Does everybody understand that? Because this is very key on to be able to understand the if else. Okay, so everybody understands then how the if statement works. Now, if we make a same while loop, obviously the if else statement doesn't have to be in a while loop. You can keep it outside of the while loop. But I'm just doing it for to show you how it would work in these puzzles where we're usually putting the if statement in a while loop. So we have our previous statement 1, we have our if statement, but now it's going to be an if else. So then we have what? Then we have here 2, and then we have else. And we're going to label this one 4, okay, since it's a new action. And then we have our last line, which is previous 3. So these ones all line up with each other. 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 2, 3 goes to 3. Look at them as if they were the same statement. Now, let's see what will happen if this if statement is true. Okay? So if the if statement is true, it'll act like our usual if statement. Not so if the if else statement, if the statement up here is true, then this if else will work just the same as this if statement. It'll do 1, then 2, then 3. The difference is when this if statement is false. So instead of just going 1 to 3 like how it did here, when the statement is false in just an if statement, it goes 1, it skips 2 because it can't do it because it's false, and then it goes to 3. But in this if else statement, when this is false, it goes to this else. So what this is saying is if this statement is true, do action 2. Otherwise, do action 4. So it'll go and do 1, it'll go to 4, and then it'll go to 3. So does everybody understand that? Tulja, yes, ma'am. I'm Mr. Just for future reference. Okay, so you guys all got it. If you have any questions like this, please let me know and I'll try to answer them. Okay, so I'll switch back to just sharing a window. Okay, and then we'll go back to this. So if you guys want to try now doing this, please feel free to do so. If you guys can't get it, else. Well done. This is obviously not all the blocks you used are needed, but that's a pretty good response. If you want to get all 3 possible choices, obviously turning to the right in your response would be higher priority than turning left, which is obviously we want to turn left more than we turn right, but that does include turning both directions and being able to move forward. So very good solution. If we had just like a simple path, like if it told us to move left, then we turn left, and then we turn right, and then if it gave us a very complex path and told us to complete it in very few blocks. But there's a slightly more concise way of putting it. Repeat until if path ahead, else left. Yeah, so Anushka got it. So you want to repeat until if there's a path ahead, you move forward. Otherwise, you turn left. Because the only 2 turns we want to be making are left turns. We don't want to turn right here. And we don't want to turn left here because there's a path ahead. So if we see how it'll work from the first point, it'll check, is there a path ahead? Yeah, there's a path ahead, so it'll move forward. And it doesn't do this else statement. It goes just to one and then repeats again. Then it'll check, is there a path ahead? There isn't. So then it has to turn left. So it'll turn left. So it checks the statement, it's false. So it doesn't do action one, it goes straight to action two. So with that, we'll see how it looks. We can see that this is the proper solution. So this is the same kind of puzzle using if-else statements. So just try and complete it, I guess. Oh, okay, you want the puzzle. Yeah. Path ahead, do move forward, else turn right. Yeah. So I think I gave enough time. Repeat until path ahead, else right. Path ahead, else turn right. Yeah. So you three got the correct answer. And I'm glad to see that rather than you're taking what I'm saying, you're the constructive criticism, and you're changing the way that you're coming up with these solutions. So I'm very happy with that. I'll repeat until, yeah, so repeat until we check if there's a path ahead. If there is, then we move forward. Otherwise, we turn right. Because unlike the last puzzle, we want to turn right now instead of turn left. So let me show you one part where they tried to trick you. So you could very easily say, if there's a path to the right, we want to turn right. Otherwise, we move forward. And you see, you'll fail here. If by some miracle, you do manage to get over here, or if you put move forward 5 times instead of just move forward once. So you can do move forward 5 times. So over here, there isn't a path to the right, so then it moves forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So it moves forward 5 times, and then it checks if there's a path to the right. Moves forward 5 times. You can clearly see how this will go over 9 blocks. So you want to use it in the way that they gave you, because sometimes that does make things easier. So now we move on to number 20, the last one. And over here is the one that that the solution that Vardhan came up with earlier, that is the exact solution to this. That's what I was talking about. So if you just want to copy paste your solution from earlier, Vardhan, that will, the one that I said where it might be a lot of stuff, yeah, this one. This one is the solution to if you don't know what kind of path it's going to give you, but you know for sure there's not going to be any just branching out paths that'll trick you into failing the test, then this is the correct way. That would be the correct way to do it. So I'm just going to copy and paste it again just so that everybody can see it. So repeat until, do if path ahead, do move forward, else if path to the right, you turn right, else you turn to the left. It's a very good solution. Turn right, otherwise you turn left. And we can see it checks. Yeah, so we can clearly see how it does work. It works very well. So with that, we're done. You can always print out the certificate if you want to. I don't know why you would. But yeah, that's it for our like block coding introduction. And with that, we'll move on to Scratch. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, so Anushka, shoot me the question then. Sir, what Scratch? So I'll show you guys in a bit. It's very similar to these block coding things, but with Scratch, you don't have these problems that you need to solve. It's very open-ended. You can do whatever you want. Sir, are we going to use offline editor of Scratch? Well, you can if you want to. Uh, Obviously, I know that maybe some of you don't have the capability to make an offline editor. Anushka, sir, I've made a game. I think we'll go over that next class. Obviously, we started a bit late today. There's not as many of you today, so I don't want to hold you here any longer than you have to. Uh, so we'll definitely go over it next class. Maybe I'll actually let you present your screen then while you show your game and you can unmute and explain how it works. But I know that some of you might not have the ability to download that offline editor. So I'll show you guys the web editor. So you can just open this up in Internet Explorer, any browser, and we can see that in Scratch, the very basic start to Scratch is that you're controlling this sprite. So we can move its starting position wherever. And like in the exercises that I showed before, these demos, if we go to the first demo, we can see we have this action, this yellow block when run. When we click run, it'll do this. So like the same way that hour of code exercise had those events, we have a lot of events. So we have when space key is pressed, when this is clicked. So if I want to do when space key is pressed, motion, I think there should be, okay, well, there's not a bounce, but I could set up maybe like an animation that'll bounce it. So you could technically make like a small little like Super Mario kind of game with Scratch. So if I do when right hour pressed, move 10 steps. and then so then we can see that when I move, this is me clicking my right arrow key, and you can see that it's moving. When left arrow key is pressed, we can do move -10 steps. So in Scratch, negative numbers mean to the left, or if you want to turn right 15 degrees, turning right -15 degrees would actually be turning left 15 degrees. So does everybody understand like basic Scratch like principle? Like you have your you have a lot more start actions, and now you have negatives, meaning the opposite of the direction that you were in. Okay. Obviously, I don't want to get too far ahead because I mean we already got a bit far ahead. So I think next class we'll obviously do like a short review for anybody that wasn't here. Uh, and then we'll move on to Scratch, but I don't want to get too far into it. So you know that Scratch now exists. I will put the link for, yeah, Anushka, we can change the sprite. So if we do add a sprite, uh, yeah, so we do add a sprite, say we add a bear, we add a crab, okay, we add a crab. So now you can clearly see that we have these actions for the cat where we move. But if we move to the crab, moving the left and arrow right and left and right arrow keys still moves only the cat. If we say oh, I don't think we can copy paste, never mind. So I'll just quickly then when left arrow key, when right arrow key. I want to do negative, right? So now they move in unison because the actions that you do are not limited to just whichever sprite you have selected. When you do left arrow key, it will what is it? Fulfill this when left arrow key is pressed for both the crab and both the cat. So you need to keep that in mind when you want to do something. So instead of having the crab move whenever we press it, we could then say when this is clicked, we want it to move 10 steps and then move -10 steps. Or wait, I think we'll have to put a loop because when it does this, it just goes and move 10 steps, move -10 steps, and then it stops. So do you guys understand that? That there are different sprites, and for each sprite, then you have to write whichever program you want it to do. And if you write an action when you click the right or the W key for both of them, say it's different actions, but it will do whichever action you programmed it to, regardless of which one you have selected. The web scratch, have more blocks in the offline editor. So Anushka, the offline editor of Scratch will have different versions. So if you don't have, say, the latest version, it might have less blocks. Uh, so you might want to then switch to using the web version because the web version will always be the latest version. And I think they stopped updating the offline editor, if I remember correctly. They might have updated it. I don't know. Sir, can you send the web scratch link to try? Yeah. That is the web link. Feel free to click on it, try it. Uh, and with that, do any of you have any questions? I know we haven't covered HTML in a while, but I don't feel like doing it today because obviously this class we started late. I don't know how many of you actually were actually, what is it, waiting on this class. Uh, so I don't want to go too deep into it. We finished our block coding exercises, which is more than I thought we would do. Uh, so no, I don't have any questions. Vardhan, whoever's using the Baba Sahib account, Shlok, anybody else? Aryan, is the link working for you? Because that's an important thing. If just let me know if the link works or if it doesn't. So just click on it right now. And if it works, okay, so it does work. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so if there aren't any questions, I guess try to, what will we be doing in Scratch? So I'll be giving you small projects, I guess, at the start. Make a program that does this, and I don't know, I'll find some way to hide, what is it, the code that I've shown, and then I'll show you how my program works. Like I'll just show you like what it does, and then I'll have you guys try and duplicate that. And then the next class, then I'll select a random person from the pool of people that have done the work, and then we'll see how you guys solved it. Yeah. So, and it'll start off like that, but I think later on I'll just say, okay, make a game that looks like this, or make a game that does these basic things, and you can do anything you want beyond that. Yeah, so that I think will close out the meeting. You guys are free to leave, stay behind if you have any questions. So I've made a short story too. Okay, well, that's good. I guess I'll have you share those two then in class next week. So I'm going to be staying behind just to make sure that everybody does leave the meeting properly. And if they have any questions, they just say it. I like the code. Yeah, I can clearly see that. And yeah, so we do have a few people in this class, or well, anybody who's really active in this class I can see that they understand and they're good at solving these puzzles. So it's very nice to see that. Uh, Here in the US, not every kid is as proficient as you guys. So it's, if you guys like it, you guys can pursue it later on in your life. It's a very good profession. You guys are free to leave if you don't have any questions. Because as I said, I like to stay in the class to make sure.